back when I first got into role-playing games, originally it was After the Bomb, which was a spin-off of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Other Strangeness, and Rifts, both of which came from Palladium Games. And, as I got a bit older in the later years of high school and early adulthood, I kind of switched away from Palladium and their books and got really into the World of Darkness. My second love, you could say, in terms of role-playing games. And despite the fact that I would say I like Werewolf and Changeling more, the World of Darkness game series that I actually ran the most of all things is this one here, Mage the Ascension. And I finally got a copy of it again. Um, it's about the war for reality. On one side, you have the traditions, which is this hodgepodge collection of all sorts of different older superstitious belief systems of various types of religions and, I guess appropriately traditions of thought, arrayed against the technocracy, which is the various high-minded, hard scientific disciplines, and the people living at the very cutting edge of science, technology, and universal understanding. Um, we'll ignore the Marauders and the Nefandi for now, because they're both basically appendices, because they've both kind of lost. Mage the Ascension, it's kind of from the get-go, like, it's about a war for reality, but the war is already lost. The technocracy, the titular bad guys of the setting, have already won. It goes very hand in hand with Werewolf, which is part of probably why I like Mage, is of all the various World of Darkness games, Mage characters probably have the best time experiencing the other corners of the World of Darkness. They have a universality to them because they are still essentially human, whereas takes a bit more kind of like plot contrivances to excuse why your werewolf character's hanging out with a bunch of vampires and vice versa and all that kind of stuff. Mages have more reasons to kind of pop up in and out of all sorts of different corners, of the World of Darkness and its spirit world and all that kind of stuff. And in Werewolf, in spite of the fact that the werewolves have their pun intended, dogged fixation upon taking down the worm and the forces of entropic destruction of the spirit world, they kind of don't have their eye on the ball because their war is already won too. The Weaver is the force of order. Is the thing that's already won. The worm has been like subsumed by the Weaver and incorporated it into its own internal process of replication. Kind of like you need to recycle the materials so you can make more things, kind of a thing, without having to rely on the raw creation of the wild and the force of primal energy. Mage dabbles in a lot of that, but it's there's a hint of sadness really to the whole thing, because as I say, the war is lost, the technocracy won, order is the rule of the day on planet Earth. That is the consensus that everyone has agreed to, and the traditions are kind of just fighting to hold on as long as they can until inevitable Armageddon sweeps everything away. So anyway, that's Mage the Ascension. It's quite an interesting game, quite a fun game. It's very personal, like all World of Darkness games, because they have so many different kinds of sub-factions that are based on either kinds of kind of a hodgepodge of different cultural identities and or psychological profiles. There's almost always something for somebody in one of these games that you can kind of identify and personalize with, which just leads to some interesting storytelling opportunities. I feel it's unfortunate that because of people's like modern day political views, that for some reason certain factions of gamers don't want to engage with the materials of the old White Wolf World of Darkness, but the modern ones certainly isn't doing the same thing. Modern Vampire 5th edition, as much as it wears the skin of Vampire the Masquerade, leaves too much of Vampire the Masquerade out of it. And that whole round of alternate World of Darkness games from the 2000s, Mage the Awakening, just didn't really seem to somehow capture the atmosphere and just proper balance of different things going on that Mage the Ascension has. But Even though I don't often bring it up because it doesn't always spring to mind as like one of my favorite games of all time, when looking back on things, it is actually up there with games I have run the most and have the most experience dealing with. I certainly had quite a few long arguments and conversations about, like fundamental natures of reality, thanks to just trying to figure out what the fuck Entropy 2 means and all that kind of stuff. So if that's your bag, Mage the Ascension might be for you. Check it out. You can get the print copy brand new off Drive-Thru RPG, or you can probably find it looking around on the internet and get an old vintage copy. It's your choice. Do what you want. It's a free universe for now.